How are you doing, guys? ZDEyE here. So this was a very unexpected day for so many games to be delayed. It's actually quite insane. We're not talking about like 1 or 2 games. We're talking about up to 3 to 4, some maybe even 5 games. Absolutely insane. Now, this does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Obviously, it doesn't. Delays are always meaning that they are trying to be at the best that they can be at the launch of the release or whatever of the game that specifically we're talking about. I'm going to get into one of the biggest games that we are considering and will be coming out, well, it seems like a couple of months later than initially we were expecting it to release. So The Last of Us Part 2, the new release date, it was officially confirmed, will be coming out on May 29th, 2020. There's also a post on our blog, US PlayStation, and specifically coming from Neil. And as I quote, I know it's just about a month ago we had our big blowout for the game, letting media play over 2 hours of it, along with debuting our new story trailer and revealing the release date. The positive response we saw from our community was overwhelming. You can feel the energy among the team members. After working on something for so many years, it's invigorating to get a glimpse of the validation of all the hard work. However, it was during the last weeks, as we were closing out the section of the game, that we realized we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to the level of polish we would call a Naughty Dog quality. At this point, we were faced with 2 options: compromise the parts of the game or just get more time. We went with the latter. And the new release allows us to finish everything to a level of satisfaction while also reducing the stress on the team. While we are relieved that we won't have to compromise our vision, we're disappointed that we weren't able to avoid this exact situation. We wish we could have foreseen the amount of polish we needed, but the size and scope of this game got the better of us. We hate to disappoint our fans, and for that, we're sorry. We hope you understand that this additional time ensures that The Last of Us Part 2 lives up to our collective ambition as well as our commitment to the highest level of quality. We know that the extra few months will add to what may already be an excruciating wait for all of us. We're grateful for your patience and continued support. Coming next May, you will finally rejoin Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2, Neil. End of quote. So this comes from obviously Neil Druckmann himself. He's kind of disappointed that they had to delay the game, but I'm actually down for it. You know what? I'm actually very, very much down for it. I don't really mind it because it's only good news for all of us to anticipate this game that we all consider to be one of the best games coming out in 2020. Of course, there are quite a few more, in fact. And it's gonna get its push. I think it's completely necessary if that's what they believe, and it's a good thing as well that they did not have to compromise on anything, and instead they decided to go with the later choice. Latter choice should probably reference it as a delay the game. Well, this actually only implies a little bit more things. There's a good chance now that Last of Us Part 2 actually is a far better chance. I shouldn't say good chance, but I should say a far bigger chance of its getting a release on the next generation of consoles as well. It's obviously closer we get to that launch of the next generations of consoles. Obviously, there's going to be more games coming out on the next generations as well. Also, there is another piece of information coming from Jason Schreier. Basically, he mentions regarding, I don't think I need to say who Jason Schreier is. I mean, the stuff that he knows is incredible, especially from Ubisoft launches and stuff. He knows pretty much a lot of things that a lot of people publicly do not know, and he's the main source of this information that everybody just simply wants to know about. And anyway, so this is regarding Ghost of Tsushima. And this is exactly coming from his tweet. By the way, the Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have a public release date yet, but it's also been bumped later into the 2020 to account for this delay. Don't expect them to suddenly turn it into a PlayStation 5 game or anything. It was originally planned for the first half of the year, not anymore. And so if that's the case, means that we're not going to get any PlayStation exclusives until May of 2020. Well, I'm not including of course the Death Stranding. I'm talking about in 2020 referencing. So it's the other references to it. Obviously, we're going to get 2 mega releases in 2020, The Last of Us Part 2 and the Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima has been mentioned by Jason Schreier that it will most likely be coming out at the second half of the year, basically, at 2020, right? This means I personally think that they're gonna try to make the majority of the profit for to resell the game again and again. Well, number one, you can get the game earlier if you want to play it on PlayStation 4, as an example. And then a couple of weeks, couple of months later, you can get it on the PlayStation 5. So obviously, you can actually make double the sales at this point. It's actually very good, it makes sense. It's business, it's strategy. It's completely understandable. But if the game is like maybe a week apart, let's say like that or something, right? What's the point of waiting? Personally, for me, I would wait, get the game on a PlayStation 5, and then enjoy my experience with it. That's just my personal opinion, of course. There is even more information now. We're going to be talking about Ubisoft. Ubisoft, with the financial call, basically, they had very, very recently, a couple of hours ago, and they announced that the Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Gods and Monsters were all delayed. There's actually a quote coming from by Guillemot, hopefully I'm not butchering his name. We're tackling these issues head on and already are implementing significant changes to our production processes. We are confident in our capacity to adapt and evolve, as we have done successfully many times in the past. In this overall context, we have decided to postpone the release of the Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Watch Dogs Legion until 2020 to 2021. While each of these games already has a strong identity and high potential, we want our teams to have more development time to ensure that their respective innovations are perfectly implemented so as to deliver optimal experiences for the players. That's alongside the two other AAA games from the major Ubisoft franchises are also due to during the next fiscal year. So it's going to be a very crowded time from April 2020 through the March of 2021. This means that the games that we don't even know yet, there's going to be even more. This is going to be absolutely insane. Now, there's also been specified regarding that specifically as such as like Watch Dogs Legion, I'm going to get into that just an example. It actually will be coming out pretty much the second half of the year, of this year anyway. So expect it like coming out maybe, just an example, September, October, November, and one of those months anyway. And of this year, of course, 2019. This is actually very good news, but it's insane. All of this information is pretty much coming today, and not like yesterday. I mean, there could have been some rumors regarding all of this, just the changes and the announcements and such coincidences and stuff. It's insane. I actually think it's actually a very good objectable move. It makes sense business-wise as well. Well, maybe not so much of business-wise, because obviously, longer than you delay the game, the more you'll have to pay for it. But also, it only means good things for the consumer like us. So that's actually a good thing in my book. Well, at that, thank you so much for watching. Tell me down in the comments as well, what do you think about all of these major delays for so many games all in one day? Wow. Well, anyway, again, I see you guys and have a good one.
What happened to that bloke who helped me?
He didn't make it.
Fuck it.
Welcome to DedSec, James.
Yeah. Okay, so where do I go to meet the rest of the crew?
You don't need to go anywhere. Look around you. Everyone has a reason to fight, and DedSec is open to anyone.
Anyone?
Welcome to the Resistance.